All right, let's talk about one of the biggest automotive secrets on the used market, the Infiniti Q50 Red Sport 400. On paper, this car is an absolute monster of a deal, but it's the Japanese sports sedan that pretty much nobody talks about. So why? Well, honestly, Infiniti just didn't have the marketing muscle or the cool factor. The sports sedan crowd, they were looking at BMWs and Audis, not Infinitis. So the real question is, does that make this car a hidden gem for someone who knows what to look for? Let's find out. And just to get a sense of what we're dealing with, look at this. For the exact same money you'd spend on a used entry-level BMW 3 Series with maybe 250 horsepower, you can get this Infiniti with a whopping 400. I mean, the amount of power you get for your dollar is just insane. It really does seem like the deal of a lifetime, but there's a reason for that price. And believe me, it's not just the badge. And let's be super clear about what 400 horsepower meant back when this thing launched in 2016. It was a beast. The BMW 340i, it was making 320 horsepower. The Mercedes C450 was at 362, Audi's S4 only 354. The Q50 Red Sport straight up embarrassed its German competition on the spec sheet, and it was cheaper than every single one of them. So why didn't they sell a billion of them? This right here, this is why we're talking about it today. The depreciation has been absolutely brutal, and that's what creates this huge opportunity. That original $55,000 plus sticker price has been completely hammered down. You can now find these things for between 25 and 40 grand. All that twin-turbo V6 performance is now selling for pennies on the dollar. It is a genuine enthusiast's loophole. Which, of course, leads us to the big question. The whole reason we're doing this. It just sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? And in the world of used performance cars, too good to be true almost always means there's a catch. And with the Q50 Red Sport, oh yeah, there are definitely a few. So the heart of the car, and the source of its biggest problem, is that engine. It's a 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6, codenamed the VR30DDTT. Now this is the exact same engine that's in the brand new Nissan Z, so Nissan has bet the farm on this thing. But for the people who bought the early Q50s, that bet came with a huge, huge risk. Okay, this is probably the single most important thing you need to remember. The model year is everything. The early engines, specifically in the 2016 and 2017 cars, have a well-known and very serious flaw with the timing chain tensioner. Infiniti fixed the part starting in 2018, which makes those later models a much, much safer choice. So what happens when a tensioner fails? Well, it's not just a little noise. The tensioner is supposed to keep the timing chain tight. When it gives up, the chain gets loose. And if that chain jumps just one little tooth on the gear, the engine's timing goes completely out of whack. In an engine like this one, that means the pistons slam into the valves and your fancy 400 horsepower V6 turns into a very, very expensive piece of scrap metal. And we are talking about a massive financial risk. Best case scenario, you hear a rattle, you catch it early, you're still looking at a repair bill that can go as high as $7,000. It's a gigantic job. But if you don't catch it and that engine gets damaged, you're easily looking at 10 grand or more. That's potentially half the value of the entire car gone. So you're thinking, okay, simple. I'll just avoid the early models and I'm good to go, right? Well, not so fast. The timing chain is the big headline-grabbing problem, but the Q50 Red Sport can also suffer from what I like to call a death by 1,000 cuts, a whole bunch of other common and pretty expensive issues. Let's start with the oil leaks. The oil pan gasket on this VR3 engine is almost guaranteed to fail at some point. The part itself is nothing, it's super cheap, but getting to it is a ton of labor. So you're looking at up to $1,500 for the fix. And on top of that, the little oil lines that feed the turbochargers, they're known to leak too, which is really bad news if they end up starving those turbos of oil. And then there's the tech inside the car, which can be a real headache. That cool-looking dual-screen infotainment system, especially before 2018, is known for being incredibly slow, laggy. It'll just freeze up or randomly restart on you. Then you have the optional direct adaptive steering. It's a steer-by-wire system. There's no physical connection to the wheels. And car people, we hate it. It just feels numb and totally disconnected from the road. And the little annoyances just keep coming. You'll probably hear some clunks from the suspension. That's usually the sway bar end links. The wheel bearings on the all-wheel drive cars are a known weak spot. Oh, and inside, a lot of owners find that the nice soft-touch material on the dashboard starts to peel and bubble, especially if the car lives somewhere hot. So look, when you start adding all of this up, the numbers get pretty scary. A worst-case scenario on an early car could easily mean a timing chain job, plus fixing leaks, plus other little things. You could easily be staring at a $10,000 repair bill. And when you see that, it's easy to understand why most people just say buy and run in the other direction. But it's not an automatic buy. What if you could get all that performance while dodging most of the risk? This is where we shift from talking about the problems to talking about the solutions. This is your guide on how to actually hunt for a good one. So it all comes down to this 4-step checklist. It's simple, but you have to stick to it. Number 1, and this is the big one, only look at 2018 or newer models, period. That helps you avoid the timing chain lottery. Number 2, you have to see a full and complete service history. 3, and this is an absolute deal breaker, walk away from any car that's been modified. And finally, number 4, you have to get a pre-purchase inspection from a mechanic who really knows these specific cars. And this quote right here perfectly explains why rule number 3 is so critical. The VR30 engine is a tuner's paradise. You can get 500 horsepower out of it with just a simple software tune, and 600 with some basic bolt-on parts. That's a blessing if you're an enthusiast, but it's a total curse if you're a used car buyer. Any sign of modification, a different exhaust, a bigger intercooler, is a giant red flag that tells you the car has probably been beaten on. Hard. Okay, we've seen the incredible value. We've seen the terrifying risks. And we've seen the smart way to shop for one. It's time to put it all together and land on a final verdict. But just know, this isn't a simple yes or no answer. So after all that, what's the call? Is the Infiniti Q50 Red Sport 400 a buy, or is it a hard buy? Well, the real answer, as you've probably figured out by now, really depends on you and what kind of buyer you are. So here's how it breaks down. This car is a definite buy if you're an enthusiast who's done their homework. You find a spotless, completely stock 2018 or newer model with perfect service records, and you have some money saved up for the repairs that will eventually happen. But it is an absolute buy if you're just looking for a worry-free, reliable car like a Toyota, or if the car you're looking at is an early model, has missing service history, or shows any signs of being modified. And really, that's the whole story of the Q50 Red Sport. It's a true high-risk, high-reward loophole in the used car market. The math, the horsepower per dollar, is just incredible. But if you want to take advantage of that deal without getting totally burned, the knowledge of what you're getting into isn't just a suggestion, it is absolutely non-negotiable.